This man called the honor code office, lied, and told them that we weren't, in hopes that it would get him to lose his scholarship, get kicked out of school, and then he'd have to move home, thinking that that would break us up. And
thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments.
We're no contact with my husband's family, so I feel like I can talk about this now whenever I want, even though they'll probably still watch this. That's not even the worst thing that he did. The worst thing that my father-in-law ever did was he didn't want us to get married. And my husband was playing volleyball at BYU. And BYU is a Mormon school, and we were both raised Mormon, and both of our families are very Mormon. When you go to school at BYU, or you play a sport, or you live in BYU housing, you sign the honor code. And part of the honor code is that you can't have any premarital relations. My husband worked his butt off and earned a D1 scholarship to play men's BYU volleyball. And at the time, they were top in the nation, and they went to 2 national championships. I digress. This man called the honor code office, lied, and told them that we weren't, in hopes that it would get him to lose his scholarship, get kicked out of school, and then he'd have to move home, thinking that that would break us up and not allow us to get married. We were 21, 22, grown adults.
That's crazy. You're telling me you sabotaged your child's future just because you didn't like his girlfriend? Lying is a sin too. So if you are so holy, why did you lie? I think one of the things these crazy in-laws don't tend to consider is that when you behave like this, you end up losing relationship with your child and with your grandchildren. This man literally sabotaged his son's chances of getting an education and graduating debt-free. Of course, he's gonna cut him off, because I can't even imagine what other toxic stuff this father has done to his own children just in the name of keeping them on the straight path. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm glad you guys have no contact with him, because this would have just been nightmare over nightmare of a marriage. The caption of this video says, "You're so funny. Thanks. My sister-in-law signed up my unborn child for adoption twice." What? The audacity. Twice? Oh my goodness. I know she would be cut off if I was in that situation. I know she would be cut off. Oh my goodness. I'm going to play her story time video.
This is a story time of how my sister-in-law signed my unborn baby up for adoption. A little side note before I start is that was me holding my baby in the video, and they're not around. We don't talk to them, haven't for years, and I don't plan on changing that. This is back in 2021. I was pregnant with our second baby. We had just told my dad, both my grandmas, and 2 of my friends, and my husband's family didn't know yet, and neither did his friends. My husband had gotten a phone call from a random number, and they were looking for me, saying that I went online the night before and put in an application saying that I was pregnant and looking for options. He called me, and I was confused, had no clue what he was talking about, so we let it go. And then a few days later, I started getting phone calls and pamphlets in the mail, all from different adoption agencies, and I had no clue why this was happening. Come to find out, my grandma told my sister-in-law that I was pregnant, and then the day after she did that, we got a phone call from an adoption agency. I don't think that was a coincidence, but we didn't have any proof, so we just had to let it go. And then in 2023, it happened again. We were on a trip visiting my dad, and I got a phone call from a random number, and she said that I had gone online, filled out an application, and said that I was pregnant and looking for options. When I told her that I wasn't pregnant and I didn't do that, she apologized profusely, and I asked her what the location was of the person that logged on, and she said the name of the city that my sister-in-law happened to live in, and they're the only people that I knew in the entire state. So again, I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't know why they did it. I genuinely think that she was just wanting to get a rise out of me and was being petty, but I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction, and she made it so there's no solid evidence that it was them, but it was them. So, yeah.
It definitely had to be your sister-in-law, because adoption agencies just don't contact you out of the blue. Somebody had to have registered you for that, for them to be calling you. And then for her to do it twice, oh my goodness. I hope you guys have no contact with them. I know if I was in your situation, there's no way somebody like that is going to be anywhere close to my child. Oh my goodness. I think out of all the crazy in-law stories I've heard, this has to top the worst of them. Literally trying to adopt your niece or nephew without their parent consent. Oh my goodness. Yeah, cut them up. This is not family at all. This is not family at all.
It's happened again. Of course. My in-laws have been taking us to court for the last 8 years for our older daughter, who is now 13. She gets packages regularly for every holiday: Halloween, Valentine's Day, birthday, Christmas, all of the holidays. She always gets packages. They're always addressed to her, no one else. And when you open them, there's always a letter and things for her specifically. I do have 2 other children that are biologically theirs. They are my husband's parents. So you would think they wouldn't just send gifts for the one child and not the other 2.
That's kind of weird. What do you hope to achieve by sending gifts for just one member of the family? I can understand if they don't send gifts to the parents, but at least make the other 2 kids feel loved too, right? Like, it's just weird to me. I don't know what the point of all of that is though.
And if you're looking for a little bit more backstory, I did a whole story time on how our in-laws have been making our life a living hell for the last 8 years, taking us to family court. The issue I have is over Christmas, they sent a package for our daughter. She called them out on the fact that they have not sent anything for the boys, and she continually tells them they have not sent stuff for the boys, and it's unfair. It is unfair to the boys, it is mean, and it is hurtful, and to please stop. She said she did not want any more packages until they can change their behavior. This has been going on for about 8 years, like I said. So she has stated this many times over the years, and they just keep doing it. Finally, she did stick up for herself because she is getting older. She speaks up more now than she did when she was younger. She always felt like it wasn't worth the hassle to even fight with them. It always ends up getting turned on to us, and they blame us for why she speaks out against them or has an attitude towards them.
So they behave badly, your daughter speaks out against it, and then they blame you? Yeah. I'm not surprised you guys have no contact, honestly. I think at this point, the best thing to do would just to send the package back. As soon as they even open it, as soon as you get it, send it back to the sender. Because if they will not respect your boundaries, then they don't have a right to have access to you, right?
And they just never believe her when she tells them things. They just think it's us feeding her information. Not that she's 13 years old and clearly not a 5-year-old anymore. Anyway, they sent this Valentine's Day package. In it was this letter that detailed all of the reasons. It says, to Jocelyn from my in-laws. And in it, it states all of these reasons why they love her for Valentine's Day and how much they miss her. And not any other letters for the boys. Nothing. Not even addressed to them. Like I said, this package was addressed to her specifically. And then they sent 3 little bags like this with no names on them, with heart candies in it, and like a few bracelets and a hand sanitizer. And that is it. Now, I guess my question for you guys, would you consider one of these for the boys? Or do you think that it was just addressed to Jocelyn? They only had a letter for Jocelyn in here. Could you consider this for the boys? Like, there's nothing in here saying anything's for the boys.
I don't think so, because even if you look at the other gifts, they are all like girly themed gifts. So I don't think they had the boys in mind. The letter was specifically written for your daughter, and all the gifts seemed very girly. I don't think they had any of your sons in mind when they were making.
I did ask my daughter if she wanted it, and she said no. So I don't really know what to do with this. I just wanted your guys' thoughts, but I'm sick and tired of just bending over and being like, yes, you can do whatever you want to us. You can harass us. You can do all of these things to us, and we're supposed to just take it. Like, we can't do anything. I'm over it. So yeah, I'm going to bring this to here, and I'm going to ask you guys, because I feel like you guys have become my community on this stuff. You help me kind of see clarity if I'm just being crazy or if this is normal, or like, what do you guys think? But I cannot stand the blatant favoritism anymore. I cannot do it. It is unfair to put on our daughter, and it is unfair to do it to our sons. I'm so over keeping my mouth shut with them.
In my opinion, you're not crazy. This is not normal. Most grandparents try to be fair to all the grandkids, right? They try to make every grandkid feel loved. This is definitely not normal. And then you can say, oh, it's probably because they don't know any better. But then this kid has clearly communicated that I don't like this. Is it not just common sense to change when somebody tells you I don't like this? But instead of them to change, they are blaming you for feeding her information, which I don't think that's true though, because kids grow up. At 13, she has some emotional maturity, right? She probably sees her brother be sad every time her grandparents send her gifts and they don't get anything. Every time your daughter gets a gift from the grandparents, I'm pretty sure your sons feel very unloved because they're just being excluded for no reason. They're just kids. I don't think there's anything they can do that would justify their grandparents treating them like this. You know, even if it's just to make them feel loved and included, I think it's worth spending the extra money, right? If you are sending a gift for one person, send a gift to everybody. In my opinion, at this point, just return their gift back to them. If they will not respect your boundaries, they don't have any right to have access to you. If you do it enough, they will get the message. And if they don't keep getting the message, then they have to be cool with wasting their money.
So my husband is Indian and my mother-in-law is very traditional Indian, old school mentality. And I love her, but we do bump heads quite a bit because culturally we do not see eye to eye. And one of the big things in their family is all of the children get the father's first name as their middle name. Now, this was something that my husband and I both agreed on that we weren't going to do. Our first child's middle name is my baby sister that had passed away. My second child, his middle name is in fact my husband's first name because that was his first boy and that was important to him. Now, for our third, we didn't know the gender, but we decided regardless if it was male or female, that it was not going to have his name because I'm very much about consistency, and I didn't think it was fair that two of my kids would have the same middle name and not the third. And I also, in case it was a girl, because we didn't know her gender at the time, in case it was a girl, I didn't want her to have a traditional male name as her middle name. It just wasn't something I wanted. But anyway, we brought the baby home from the hospital. Her middle name is Ava. My mother-in-law has not stopped throwing a fit since we got home. She keeps saying that it goes against tradition, that our child's going to be confused growing up, that if she passes her home in India onto my husband and he passes it on to the kids, the only one that will get the house is my son because he's the only one that's middle name is my husband's name and people are going to think that the rest are from a different family.
What does she mean by they will feel like the rest is from another family? In my opinion, they all have the same last name. So obviously, they are all related, right? And also, you guys are forming your own tradition. Your husband is on board, you're on board. Why does your mother-in-law feel like she has the right to tell you what to do in your own house? When she had her child, she named him however she liked. Now it's your turn. She doesn't have the right to control or to tell you what to name your child or what to not name your child. In my opinion, she's way out of line though.
And she keeps talking in a very negative light, saying that everybody's going to think that all three of my kids have different dads. Mind you, my first daughter's middle name is Grace, and this one is Ava. So I'm not trying to be funny, but if I hear Grace, Ava, and my husband's first name, I'm not thinking that there's three different dads. And regardless, even if there is three different dads, I grew up in a family where me and my brother and sister all have different dads. So the fact that she's talking in a negative, derogatory manner kind of insults me. And she's not understanding that. She just keeps saying that it's going to affect our kids in the future, that they're going to feel left out, that they're not going to understand why we didn't do traditional things. And the big thing that we keep talking about in my house is how my daughter, who's now 4.5, is very self-aware. She picks up on things. She's like a sponge. And they keep having this conversation right in front of her. She's not going to think anything of her middle name. But if you keep having this conversation in front of her, she is going to think something of it. And it's very frustrating because I'm 1 week postpartum. Like, I don't want to think about these things. I just want to spend time with my baby. But yeah, so tell me how'd it go for you guys 1 week postpartum?
I understand the importance of family name, right? In a lot of culture. But all of your kids have the same last name. I think that's enough to say they're all from the same family, right? You guys are from two totally different cultures. So it's okay for you guys to not do everything in the traditional way. It's okay for you guys to create something totally different and something new that both of you feel comfortable with. Also, where's your husband in all of this argument? Why are you the one going back and forth with his mother? In my opinion, he needs to deal with his mother and set boundaries with her. You also just had a girl. I think it's going to be more confusing for your daughter why she has a traditional male name as a middle name as opposed to a girl name, right? Because I'm pretty sure if she starts to go to school, she might even be bullied for it though. In my opinion, you're not in the wrong here. Your mother-in-law needs to know when to back off. I'll let you guys do your own thing.
You guys are not going to believe this. You would not believe what just happened to me. So I'm out walking my dog with my two youngest children. And yesterday, my mother-in-law tried to pop up over my house without calling, even though we have asked her multiple times to respect that boundary. So since she won't respect it, we kind of enforced it and ignored the door. So she was kicking and screaming at the door, and we're homeschooling 4 kids, and both of us work from home, so I didn't answer, right? Neighbors called the police on her, and they escorted her out of our community. Yeah. Later on yesterday, she texts my husband such a nasty message, and I mean nasty. And I'm wondering, like, why didn't she just text me? Because she knew I was home. Like, everybody, you know I was home. Why you didn't text me? But he didn't read it. You know who read it? Me.
In my opinion, I think your husband should always be the one that deals with his mom. That's just my opinion though. I think you should always stay out of things like that, because he's the one that brought you into that family. And it's his duty to make sure that you're protected and not abused by his family.
So Karen is like really, really peed off that he doesn't respect her. And whenever she pops over, she should always be welcome in our home. And I brainwashed him, because she's been gone all his life, to know how to treat a mother. Mind you, he's a grown man with 4 children. Nobody need to brainwash him. So instead of replying back to the message that I'm reading on his phone, I called her from my phone. Yeah. She answered, "I don't feel like arguing with you." I said, "Listen, Karen, I need you to understand that we have asked you to respect this boundary." She cuts me off. "I don't have to respect anything that you say. I'm his mother, and he needs to understand that when I want to come see my grandkids, I need to come see my grandkids." Granted, they're at school.
You never said she couldn't see her grandkids. You just said communicate with us so that we can set up a time that works for everybody. How is that such a difficult boundary to respect? If you want other people to respect you, you have to be willing to respect them also. Respect is reciprocal. You don't get special respect just because you are the mother-in-law. No, if you want respect, you have to be willing to give it to other people too.
So I don't know what you expect to do. So I said, "Karen, listen, it is super easy for us to respect one another. I've asked you, my husband has asked you, to make sure that you at least text or call to see if it's okay to come over. It is not a big problem. You know, we do that to anybody that when we come visit. You know, that's not something that's not normal." "Well, it's unusual for me because all of my kids," and I said, "Karen, all of your kids are scared to tell you no. But I'm not scared to tell you no, and neither is my husband. So it's either respect our boundaries or you won't be a part of our lives." And she hung up on me. So then about 5 minutes later, my husband got a text message from Karen, and she said, "Good riddance. I don't need you a part of my life." Now, I'm just like, leave it alone. You know, my husband, he's not going to respond to any drama. So I say about 2 hours later, my sister-in-law calls me. She tells me that they had to go to court and Karen act a fool. And now her husband is trying to back her, which I'm really proud to hear, in setting proper boundaries. They have an active restraining order on her. Hence, that's why she's now trying to come over here.
This woman has such a big ego. She just thinks she can do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and she doesn't think anybody can hold her accountable. Your kid only told you, text us or call us before you come over. How is that such a big problem? So you'd rather be cut out of your kid's life than respect their boundaries? I'm not surprised she's having problems with her other kids.
I need y'all thoughts, because to me, it seems like she just needs to find her life. You know, she needs somebody to make her smile. Now, if you are a mother-in-law or a father-in-law, let me know your thoughts, because Karen is single. She doesn't have a husband, and she seems to be imparting on a lot of her children's marital lives. I just want to know y'all feedback, because this is not normal behavior. And I never had to deal with a mother-in-law, so I don't know what I'm really dealing with, but I want to know y'all thoughts.
In my opinion, you're not wrong in this situation. If she wants to be a part of your life, she has to respect your boundaries. And what you're asking for is not even too much. Just call ahead and let us know you're coming over, so we know that we are not either homeschooling or working, just so that we can even have time to spend with you. Because what if she comes in the middle of the day when you guys are either homeschooling or working? That's not a good time for anybody. If she's not willing to obey just a simple boundary to be a part of your life, and she would rather be cut off, that's on her. It's not on you. And I think your husband needs to step up a little bit more. He cannot just be letting you deal with his mom. It is his job to set boundaries with his mom.